At Christmas dinner, my mom laughed and said, "If I'd known how much trouble two kids would be, I'd have taken those pills after your sister was born." Everyone laughed, except me. Months later, they forged my name for a loan and ended up begging outside my cabin. They even tried to steal from me. Hey, Reddit, my parents spent my entire life reminding me I was the extra one. So, I walked away, built something real, and finally found peace. But of course, they weren't done causing trouble. Let me tell you how it happened. I'm Nathan, 36 years old, a carpenter. I run a small workshop in town where I build custom furniture and fix things people with money are too busy to handle themselves. It's not glamorous, but I like it. Wood doesn't argue, and when you build it right, it stays strong. People don't always work that way. I grew up in a family that looked perfect from the outside. Suburbs, a big house, and fake smiles. My mom, Karen, lived for appearances. My dad, Paul. Meanwhile, Clara bragged about her brand deals and followers. I checked her page once. Half her posts were taken at rented Airbnbs she pretended to own. Mom adored it, calling her our little entrepreneur. Dad would nod, pretending to understand any of it. I'd see them a few times a year, mostly at Christmas. If I didn't show, Mom would spin a story about me being too busy or too distant, whichever fit her image better that year. Honestly, I only went because my grandfather asked me to. After he passed, I just kept going out of habit. My workshop's quiet most days. I play old rock on a worn-out radio, sand wood, and drink too much coffee. It's steady work, and it keeps me sane. Customers come in, order tables or cabinets, and I give them something that lasts, something real. That's more than I can say for family loyalty. Sometimes my friend Marcus drops by. He runs a small repair shop down the road. He jokes that I treat furniture better than people. Inside smelled like candles and pride. Mom called out from the kitchen without even looking up. Code in the closet. Her voice sharp enough to cut wood. Relatives filled the living room, chatting about traffic and recipes. My uncle nodded, then asked if I was still doing the wood thing. "Yeah," I said. "Keeps people's tables from falling apart." He laughed, missing the point. Dad walked in from the den, wearing a sweater that probably cost more than my truck payment. I handed him the box. He opened it, said nice, and set it down. No eye contact, no thanks. Then Clara arrived, late, loud, smelling like luxury perfume. "Sorry, traffic was awful," she said, even though she lives 20 minutes away. Mom nearly dropped her dish just to hug her. "You look perfect. That coat is beautiful." "Thanks, it's Prada," Clara said proudly. "Of course it is," I muttered. Dinner started tense. The table was full, but the air was hollow. Everything matched. The plates, the centerpiece. "Guess the mood wasn't built to last," I said quietly. The table fell silent. Dad cleared his throat. "Let's just eat." We did. Barely 10 minutes before Clara started talking about brand deals and followers. Mom beamed. "Our daughter's building her future. She's got drive." My aunt tried to include me. "And Nathan, how's business?" "Good," I said. "Upgraded from cheap wood to mid-range pine." A few chuckles. Mom rolled her eyes like I'd embarrassed her. Clara laughed. "That's cute." "Thanks," I said. "Doesn't pay much, but at least it's honest work." That landed. Mom's smile cracked. Dad stared at his plate. Then Mom said it, the line that froze the room. Honestly, if I'd known how much trouble two kids would be, I'd have just taken those birth control pills after Clara. Not a whisper. Clear, sharp, certain. Then she laughed like it was clever. I gave a short laugh. "Yeah, you'd know a lot about pretending things are smaller than they are." "Nathan," Mom snapped. "What? You said your piece, I'm saying mine." "You're ruining Christmas," she said. I stood up, the chair scraping against the tile. "No, I think I just stopped pretending it was one." I raised my glass. "To the one who shouldn't exist, but still showed up." Clara looked ready to disappear into her seat. Dad stayed frozen. Mom's face went pale, her jaw tight. I finished my drink, set the glass down, and leaned forward. "You know, I used to think you ignored me because I wasn't enough," I said quietly. "But now I realize it's because you can't stand mirrors that don't flatter you." No one moved. I grabbed my jacket and keys, glanced around the table once. "Merry Christmas," I said, and walked out. Outside, the cold hit hard, but it felt clean. Snow kept falling, light and steady. I walked to my truck, started it, and sat there for a moment. After that, I cleaned. Not a quick tidy-up, but the kind of cleaning that resets everything. I scrubbed the floors, cleared shelves, and even fixed the crooked kitchen cabinet that had annoyed me for months. It felt like clearing my mind as much as the room. That night, I cooked something simple: grilled chicken and plain rice. No TV, no noise, just quiet. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I just felt done. The next morning, I woke before sunrise and went to work. The shop was cold, my breath visible in the air. I turned on the old space heater and got started. Orders were slow that week, but enough to stay busy. A few shelves for a store, 2 dining tables for a young couple. Days started to blend together. Wake up, coffee, cut, sand, stain, repeat. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. I liked the rhythm. The noise was mine. Tools that listened. A week later, Marcus dropped by with a box of screws and his usual dry humor. "You've been on a roll," he said. "Busy is good," I replied. "Sure, but take a break sometime. You've been here more than the lights have. Can't afford to stop. Feels weird when I do." He nodded, understanding without pushing. That's the thing about people like him. They know. You don't fix the noise in your head by talking, you fix it by doing. By February, I had more orders than I could take. 10-person dining sets, custom desks, special pieces. I worked 12 to 14 hours a day. Clients paid on time, gave real compliments, and some came back for more. The shop looked better too. Cleaner, brighter, more alive. I'd upgraded tools, repainted the walls, and hung a small sign outside. Howard Woodworks. Simple black letters on metal, but it meant something. Sometimes at night, I'd think about that Christmas dinner. The thought never lasted long. Every time I picked up a saw or brush, I felt further away from that table, and from them. I hadn't seen my grandfather much. He lived far away, but he never compared me to Clara. When we talked, he was direct, never disappointed. He used to say, "If you can build something real, you'll never feel empty." I looked around the shop at everything I'd made. The drive to the lakeside town took about 3 hours. The farther I went, the quieter it got. Snow covered the roadsides like no one had touched them in weeks. When the GPS lost signal, I didn't bother fixing it. The place had 2 streets and a post office. The law firm sat near the water in an old brick building. Inside, a man in his 50s greeted me. "Mr. Howard, I'm James Cole. Thanks for coming." His office smelled like old paper and coffee. He slid a folder across the desk. "Your grandfather's estate has cleared. The property in Ashridge, cabin, workshop, surrounding land, all yours." "Just me?" I asked. "Just you," Cole said. His will was very clear. He wrote, "Nathan will know what to do with it." He was the only one who ever made me feel like I wasn't a mistake. I read the note twice, folded it carefully, and put it back. That night, I slept on the old couch in the cabin. The windows creaked from the lake wind, but the quiet was real, the kind that doesn't need to be earned. The next morning, I started cleaning. Tossed old rags, swept the floorboards, patched the roof, fixed a sticking door. Each repair made it feel less like his place and more like mine. After a few days, I settled into a rhythm. Wake early, light the fire, make coffee, work. I repainted the workshop, fixed shelves, rebuilt the bench. When I wasn't working, I'd sit by the lake, listening to the ice crack. No cars, no noise, just peace. A week later, Marcus showed up in his old truck. He stepped out, looked around, and whistled. "So this is what you've been hiding from me." Work grew naturally. Locals ordered custom pieces and paid without arguing. It was steady, quiet, honest. One evening, I sat on the porch, watching the sunset bleed over the lake. The air smelled of pine and sawdust. My hands were rough, my back sore, but I hadn't felt this calm in years. I thought about his note again. Build something that lasts longer than pain. Maybe it wasn't just about wood. Maybe it meant building a life that couldn't be broken by people who never built anything real. The wind carried softly through the trees, cold and clean. I leaned back in my chair and said quietly, "The old man saw something in me they never did. Maybe that's enough." The snow around the cabin had melted into patches of mud, the air thick with the scent of wet pine. Business stayed steady, the workshop busy enough that I barely noticed time passing. Orders kept coming in, money flowed regularly, and a few locals stopped by just to chat. For the first time in years, life actually made sense. Marcus dropped by most weekends to help with deliveries. He'd tease me about how organized I'd become. "Man, you label everything now?" he said one Saturday, pointing at my tool rack. "Did you get possessed by a suburban mom?" "Helps me find things," I replied, brushing sawdust off my arm. He smirked. "You just like pretending this is your kingdom." "Kingdoms don't have taxes or people telling you to smile," I said. "Fair enough. Long live the Carpenter King," he laughed. It was the kind of simple banter that made the workdays easy. No drama, no noise, just tools, effort, and silence. That peace lasted almost 2 months before the first crack appeared. Mom called one night. I almost ignored it, but old habits die hard. Her voice was soft, syrupy, the tone she used when she wanted something. "Nathan, sweetheart, how are you?" "I'm fine," I said. "What's going on?" "Well," she drew out the word, "your father's car finally broke down. We've been thinking about getting something used, but the banks aren't being kind. You're doing so well, honey. We just need a little help." "I build furniture, Mom," I said, "not bailouts." "Oh, come on, don't be like that. Family helps family." "Yeah," I said flatly. "I remember." Her tone hardened. "Don't get smart with me, Nathan. I'm trying to talk to you." "You did," I said, and hung up. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. A few days later, while cutting boards for a restaurant order, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Yeah?" I answered. "Mr. Howard?" a voice asked. "Speaking. This is James Cole from Cole and Parker, your grandfather's estate lawyer." I turned off the saw. "Hey, Mr. Cole, everything all right?" "There's been a development," he said cautiously. A bank contacted us about a loan application under your name. What loan? That's what I wanted to ask. Someone used the deed to your property in Ashridge as collateral. The application lists you as the borrower. I froze. That's impossible. I didn't apply for anything. I figured as much, he said. But the signature matches your old inheritance documents. I'll email a copy. When it came through, I opened it immediately. My name, my address, and a signature close enough to pass. But it wasn't mine. The date was just 2 weeks old. Only a few people even had access to that paperwork. 2 of them had called me recently. Family. Mr. Cole, I said slowly, what happens now? I'd suggest coming in tomorrow. This qualifies as identity fraud. You'll need to file with the bank. All right, I said. When I hung up, I just stared at the screen. My name sat beside numbers large enough to buy a house. I didn't yell or throw anything. I just felt tired. The next morning, I met Cole in his office. He spread the documents across his desk. You'll need to sign here, confirming these aren't yours, he said. We'll submit an official fraud report. How serious is this? I asked. Serious enough. Using someone else's property as collateral is a federal crime. He didn't say who he suspected. He didn't need to. I already knew. I signed each page, every stroke feeling heavier than the last. We'll handle the rest, Mr. Howard, he said. You'll get updates soon. Thanks, I replied, and stepped outside. The sky hung low and gray, the air damp with rain. I stood beside my truck for a while before getting in. No anger yet, just a quiet ache, like a splinter you can't remove. Back at the cabin, I sanded a tabletop until my arms burned. It didn't solve anything, but it stopped me from thinking. That night, another voicemail appeared. Mom's voice. Honey, it's your mother. There's been a little mix-up with the bank. Call us back, okay? It's not what you think. I listened once, then deleted it. They stole my name like it meant nothing, I said to the empty room. Guess that's all I ever was to them, a signature. 3 weeks later, the storm hit. Cole called again. Your fraud claim triggered a full audit of the accounts tied to that loan, he said. The bank's compliance team is digging deep. How deep? I asked. Deep enough to find a few skeletons. They built their lives on paper, and now the paper's burning. Days later, another update came. The audit found fake income statements, forged assets, unpaid taxes, you name it. The investigation's expanding. I leaned against my workbench, exhaling. Figures, they always loved shortcuts. I know this isn't easy, Cole said, but you did the right thing. It's protecting you. I wasn't trying to burn them, I said. I just didn't want them using my name again. That's how fires start, he replied quietly. After that, I stuck to routine. Work, eat, sleep, but the calm felt different, like a splinter under every quiet hour. Marcus noticed. You're quieter than usual, he said one afternoon. Just watching things break themselves, I replied. They catching up to their lies? Something like that. Good, he said. You've bled enough for those people. A week later, gossip spread. The local paper printed a short legal notice, an investigation into Paul and Karen Howard, connected to the Ash Ridge property. That was all it took. By the next morning, everyone was talking. Messages flooded in. I ignored them. Then Cole called. Their accounts are frozen. Standard procedure, he said. And me? You're officially cleared. Dad's company suspended him that same week. Mom lost clients when her name hit the paper. The silence didn't last. Thursday night, my phone rang. Clara. I hesitated, but answered. Her voice cracked immediately. Nate, it's bad, real bad. I know, I said. They made me give them your old files. The ones from Grandpa's will. They said the bank needed them for verification. I didn't know they'd use them for that. You always say that, I said flatly, right after they do something unforgivable. She started crying. I swear I didn't. Stop, I cut her off. You thought it would make things easier for them, like always. Silence. Then, everything's falling apart. Mom's panicking. Dad's talking to lawyers. My sponsors dropped me. People think I'm a scammer. I waited a moment. Now you know what it's like when people finally see the truth. That quieted her. I'm sorry, Nate, for everything. I know, I said, but that doesn't fix it. I know, she whispered. I ended the call, but didn't block her this time. 2 days later, Cole called. Everything's wrapped up. Your name's clear, ownership's secure, and the bank's pursuing charges against the others. You mean my parents? Yes, for now, they're just under review. That night, Mom texted, You ruined us. I stared at it before replying. You did that when you forged my life on paper. No response. The next morning, I opened the shop early. The cold air felt sharp, but alive. I worked non-stop, the smell of cedar filling the room. Every strike of the hammer felt cleaner, lighter. By dusk, I stood on the porch, watching the lake reflect the sky. They always wanted to teach me lessons, I said softly. This time, I let life do the teaching. Weeks passed. Business grew. Custom tables, cabinets, full kitchen sets, booked solid for months. One evening, my phone buzzed again. Clara. They lost the house, she said quietly. They're in a motel off Route 19. Mom wants to see you. Does she want to see me or my wallet? Silence. Probably both. Then she's wasting her gas. She's desperate, Nate. They both are. Actions have consequences, I said. Tell her that. That night, headlights appeared outside. Their car. Mom stepped out first, Dad behind her. I met them before they could knock. You've done so well, Mom said with a brittle smile. We're proud of you. Proud people don't forge signatures, I said. Her smile cracked. We made a mistake. We just need help until our accounts are released. You tried to use me like a credit card. It's declined. We're your parents, she snapped. You'd be nothing without us. You're right, I said calmly. You told me that for years. Look how that turned out. She broke down crying, half rage, half guilt. You can't just stand there and watch us fall apart. Sure I can, I said. I've had practice. Dad said nothing. They turned and left. I watched their taillights disappear into the trees. Later that night, another car pulled up. Clara. She stood there with an envelope. It's from Grandpa, she said. A letter meant for Mom and Dad. I opened it. The handwriting was shaky but clear. To my son and his wife. I left it to Nathan because he earned it through honesty, not inheritance. Love isn't ownership. Clara's voice was low. He knew what they were. I didn't want to believe it, but now I do. You sound surprised, I said. I guess I am. I thought he was unfair. Now I get it. She rubbed her arms. I don't want money, Nate. I just want a clean slate. I handed her a mug of coffee. You're not them. Don't spend your life proving it. She nodded. Thanks. As dawn broke, she stood to leave. You really built something good here. I had a good teacher, I said. After she left, I stepped outside. The lake mirrored the orange streaks of sunrise. The air was cold but pure. For once, there was nothing left to fix. My phone rang. "Morning, Mr. Howard," Cole said. "One last update. Your grandfather's will had a final clause, a charitable remainder. When you're gone, the property becomes a woodworking school for kids in foster care." I smiled. The old man thought of everything. "He did," Cole said quietly. "Take care, Nathan." I stood there, watching lights spread across the water. "They spent their lives chasing image," I said softly. "I built something that'll outlast all of us." The sun rose higher, turning the lake to gold. Peace didn't feel like winning. It felt like finally putting down the weight they left behind. "Peace doesn't come when they stop hurting you," I said to the wind. "It comes when you stop letting them." End.